One by one, those places that are part of the history of the dead are disappearing. Winterland, the Fillmore East, the Fillmore West. Well, this is another one, but before it goes, we thought we'd tell you a little bit about Kezar Stadium.
Kezar is hauntingly empty these days. As you enter the stadium, it's hard to believe this was once a regal venue, sitting stately among Haight-Ashbury Victorians in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park. The walls are crumbling, and weeds spring up where fans once cheered the San Francisco 49ers as they clashed like modern gladiators. Built in 1924, Kezar Stadium is more than the 25-year home of the Niners, though. It also hosted two historic events, one in 1973, the other in 1975. Remember the days when you could walk up to the box office, slap down a 5-spot, grab your ticket, and stroll through the gates to see the good old Grateful Dead? One such day was May 26, 1973, at Kezar Stadium, when 20,000 Deadheads attended a show billed as Dancing on the Outdoor Green, a precursor to today's Day on the Green shows now held at the Oakland Coliseum. The show, originally scheduled for 2 nights at the Cow Palace, was moved to Kezar to become promoter Bill Graham's first stadium event. Adding to the day's country picnic atmosphere were sets by Waylon Jennings and the New Riders of the Purple Sage. The Kezar concert was an early wall of sound show with 150 speakers to fill the stadium with grateful tunes. The Dead played 3 sets in 5 hours, starting off with a rousing Promised Land and moving through a set that included Deal and Sugaree from Jerry's first solo LP, plus It Looks Like Rain, Mexicali Blues, and a creamy smooth jam on Playing in the Band from Bob Weir's Ace. The sun-drenched audience was treated to several new songs as well. Roe Jimmy, Here Comes Sunshine, Mississippi Half Step, and tucked within a great third set jam, Eyes of the World. These songs debuted earlier in February and eventually formed the base for the 1973 release Wake of the Flood. Stella Blue from 74's Mars Hotel was also performed. Set 2 included You Ain't Woman Enough, showcasing vocals by Donna Jean Gaccio. Donna and the Dead performed this song 13 times in 73, Never Before and Never Again. Set 3 peaked with an incredible jazzy jam on Truckin' and a trip into the Phil Zone, a rare bass solo by Phil Lesh. Michael Dolgushkin recalls the show.
That jam in the third set, it was like the whole show was leading up to that. And yeah, they just got out there. A friend of mine, when they were doing that really spacey stuff, he thought it sounded like a million rats pouring out of speakers. And that's kind of, yeah, you listen to the tape and that is kind of what it sounds like.
2 years later, on March 23, 1975, Kezar was host to what Bill Graham dubbed Snack Sunday, described by Mayor Joseph Alioto as one of the 3 greatest events in San Francisco history. SNAC, or Students Need Athletics, Culture, and Kicks, raised $170,000 for San Francisco schools' extracurricular activities. 60,000 fans paid only $5 and packed Kezar for a 9-hour extravaganza of top Bay Area talent, including Carlos Santana, the Jefferson Starship, Joan Baez, and a surprise appearance by Bob Dylan with members of the band. The main event for Deadheads, however, was a set by Jerry Garcia and friends. And just who were Jerry's friends?
It's the Grateful Dead, really, in an expanded version of the Grateful Dead. It's the Grateful Dead, sort of like the old Grateful Dead. 2 drummers, Mickey and Bill, are playing, and Bobby Weir, and me and Phil, and Keith. So that's the nucleus, Grateful Dead, and then Merle Saunders is playing, and Ned Lajan, who's the guy that Phil's been working with a lot. So 3 keyboards, and David Crosby is sitting in too on rhythm guitar. So we've got a thing worked out that's more or less specially for this, you know. We've done something that we haven't done before. We won't play any of our old material or you know, any of that. We're approaching this freshly, and that's part of the reason we stopped performing, was an effort to pursue completely new ideas and sort of shake loose the past in terms of musical stuff, you know.
The thing Jerry and friends worked out was an unexpected instrumental blues for Allah Stronger Than Dirt, a jazz space jam that shocked the crowd who had just experienced a heavy dose of funk from an overamped Graham Central station. This was one of only 3 performances ever of Blues for Allah, all occurring during the Dead's 1975 hiatus. Now, the Dead capped their short journey through space with a contrasting encore of Chuck Berry's classic rocker, Johnny B. Goode. This show, notably, was only one of 4 Dead shows performed in 1975. Silence is all you hear at Kezar Stadium now. But if you sit in the bleachers and evoke the spirits of concerts past, you may hear the music in the wind from the Grateful Dead's 2 memorable shows at San Francisco's Kezar Stadium.